Yo, what's up? This is your boy Derek Brent here, Strike7Sports.com. This is another episode of Strike 7 Sports Podcast, joined by my co-host Brian Bada. This is an episode of the Strike 7 Sports Podcast. So we're just gonna open it up with what has been going on lately in the NFL, more in particular with Daniel Jones, the quarterback of the New York Giants. You know how heard by now. Jones is requesting a reportedly $45 million guaranteed on his next contract with the New York Giants. The report is that the Giants plan on keeping Dame Jones despite him asking for $45 million and will put a franchise tag on him. But the reports also stated that Jones will be going through another agent to pursue a deal that will give him the money, that will guarantee him the money of a $45 million quarterback. So I just want to ask you, Brian, are you surprised by Dave Jones asking for this type of money,
Yeah, and
allegedly?
someone's mentioned this earlier. There's maybe a reason why he switched agents because his old agent probably told him he was crazy, thinking he could get that money. And so, look, I don't blame him for trying to, but I just don't think the Giants are going to pay him. I think more than likely they're probably going to, if he isn't going to, if he isn't willing to lower that price, they're going to give him a contract extension, him a long-term one. The max I'll give him is maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years. Daniel Jones played solid this year, but I'm still not sold on him. Giants started.
So you're not sold on him? You want to give him this type of
He's a
money?
good quarterback, and I know they invested a first-round pick in him, but is he the guy that can take you where you ultimately want to be? And look, you may not find that guy, but I think you want to at least leave your options open. A good deal, but you leave the option open if you want to draft a young guy and develop, and he can take over at some point. But
Well, as for me, man, I dropped that franchise tag on him, bro. I dropped that tag on him, man. But you can't knock him for asking for demand that type of money. That's what he believes he's worth as an NFL quarterback. But if I'm in the Giants front office shoes, I'm looking at just his body of work, man. Just even when we were building this team up, the games that we did win, you know, it wasn't because of you. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like lead us outright to any type of victories. Then also, man, he made a lot of strides this past season, working with Ryan Dable and all that. He got cut down on interceptions, cut down on the mistakes and the careless mistakes and the mental errors. But I just don't justify. I just still don't justify him, getting paid $45 million, guaranteed. Man, that's a lot of money, man. I think that puts him in like the top 10 among quarterbacks for that type of money, man. But I just don't see it. Maybe if they had beaten the Eagles and got to the NFC Championship game, maybe we probably could think about it, man. But if you give him that money, what that means for Saquon, because he's a Saquon Barkley is plays a huge role in their success, and they need help in other areas like wide receiver, because Kenny Galladay just hasn't worked out for whatever reason with working with Daniel Jones. They need another wide receiver, maybe upgrade at the tight end through the draft or free agency, and if you commit all that money to a quarterback like Daniel Jones, that can handle. I mean, it may somewhat handle the team, because I believe that Then he Saquon Barkley, man. I think if it wasn't for Saquon Barkley, man, Jones wouldn't have the type of success that he had this season. I think just it will behoove them to, you know, bring back Saquon Barkley and give Daniel Jones a franchise tag, because I think for Daniel Jones, his ceiling is Josh Allen, in my opinion. His floor is Andy Dalton. He's Andy Dalton, man. That's what I see. You know, he's a more athletic Andy Dalton, but when he's on, you know, he can be Josh Allen. But he doesn't have Josh Allen pieces, Josh Allen weapons, you know, to work with, you know, outside of running back and tight end. And the defense is really good to a certain extent, but can you win if they had to lose Barkley and pay him all that money? Could this team? Because do we still have the same type of football team that won? What was it, like 9 games last year? 9, 8, 10 games, or do we still have the same type of team? You know what I'm saying? So I'll just, you know, kind of try to convince him just to like wait and see, you know. And also, I mean, if the Giants really, you know, about that, they could just let him pursue the more open market and put their hands in the Derek Carr sweepstakes. What do you think
The
about that?
Giants go after Derek Carr. Yeah, look, that'd be
Yeah,
interesting. I think the option too. I could see them going after a veteran, but if Daniel Jones ends up leaving or trade, that'd be funny. But I think they go with Daniel Jones. Hopefully he comes to his senses and they just get a team-friendly deal. But if not, they'll just tag him. But someone's making this point that Saquon Barkley, obviously you can't replace him individually. Replace him with a good committee of running backs. So I'm not saying Daniel Jones is better than him, but I think I would overpay. I'd probably rather Daniel Jones. When I say overpay, obviously not $45 million, but maybe a little bit more than 30. A committee of running backs, then overpay Barkley, because as we've seen back, it really can come back to bite you.
yeah, but does that if you get a committee of running backs, do these committee of running backs provide that same
I think
type
they
of
do.
value? Like I say, Barkley. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think that a lot of the success was about Saquon Barkley. I don't think a committee of backs could come in and just replace that right away. You know, unless you get a guy like a B. John Robinson. You know, B. John Robinson, um, you know, Jameer Gibbs or Kenny McIntyre, somebody later on to the drafts. But I wouldn't. I would hold off on giving this dude 45
Because
mil.
that's Patrick
And then
Mahomes' money,
go ahead.
if you think about it.
Yeah, but I got this article pulled up from CBSSports.com, the NFL page, and it was just saying how this writer the story written by Douglas Clawson, saying that 4 reasons why James Jones seeking 45 million per year isn't that crazy. He got these 4 reasons why. And in the last one, he says that 45 million is not what it used to be. And he says that in addition to 45 million per year for Dave Jones, would even be record breaking. It would tie him for the fifth highest paid player in terms of average annual value. It's also the same amount as Patrick Mahomes gets paid. While that may be shocking, it needs to be taken into context with the rising salary cap. $45 million per year is 20% of the 2023 salary cap. 20% of the salary cap between 2021 amounted to 37 million per year. Thoughts on that?
like I said, in terms of how much they could pay Daniel Jones. Again, like I said, the number
Yeah.
I would go with the tag if he wants something crazy. But if you give him 30 million plus, that's fine. I think eventually he'll come to his senses because he's gotten better every year, but you got to realize the type of quarterback you are. Sometimes, even though you may want the money, you can go somewhere else, but you may truly just be a system quarterback. And so sometimes taking a good deal long term deal in terms of money wise, but a solid deal for everybody involved. And I think that's what he should do.
Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out. I won't commit that type of money to him. I don't care what 45 million per year, 45 million per year means now because you give him this type of money for 3 to 4 years, you tied to this dude during that time, and if you have to cut bait with him because you don't like the results, you're on the hook for that dead money. You know what I'm saying? So that's why if I did, I would put some type of stipulation in that contract where we as a team could get out of it. And I wouldn't give him that money up front. Well, I wouldn't give him that money up front either. I'll just like spread out, like Mahomes is doing with his contract instead of just giving him no money for the first 2 years. So that way we can see if, you know, he has a small cap hit in those first 2 years and we put pieces around him, will we be winning? Will we be successful? Can we be a successful football team? So that's how I would do it. But I still wouldn't get this dude 45 million. I wouldn't commit to this dude right now. I'll give him a tag, 37 million. See what happens. So we'll see how everything plays out. All right, man. We'll segue to our next topic, and that's concerning Florida Gators. QB Anthony Richardson and the buzz that has been generating for the last I would say couple of weeks about him being a top 10 pick, top 5 pick. And the latest is that he can be a possible, a potential #1 pick in the draft by the Bears, Colts, or whoever at the time. But the Bears currently hold the #1 pick. And I got the story came out from it's kind of put posted on aggregated on 3.com is that CBS has, in the latest mock draft, CBS has projected that, made a bold prediction that Florida Gators QB Andy Richardson is going to be drafted first overall. So this is the draft, the current predictions they got in the latest mock draft. They got Indianapolis moving up with a trade from Chicago to get Andy Richardson. Bryce Young going to Houston at #2. Jalen Carter out of Georgia to Arizona at #3. The Bears go to pick at #4, take Will Anderson out of Alabama. Carolina moves up with Seattle to take Will Levis. I'm gonna just cut it off right there. So, with that being said, what are your thoughts on Andy Richardson being viewed as a top pick in the draft, man, over guys like a Bryce Young or Will Levis, CJ Stroud?
Make sure I'm getting this right. So this was a bold prediction, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
As a
Now
mock
that
draft.
makes a
Yeah.
little bit more sense because, like, if it's a bold prediction, then I can get. But I believe there's a chance Anthony Richards a top 10 pick, maybe even top 5. A GM that wants to keep his job, him over Bryce Young, over CJ Stroud, even Will Levis. In my case, he has a higher ceiling than Will Levis. Probably wouldn't. If you want a safer choice, I'll take Will Levis. Remember, we were talking about this in the group chat at some point that Richardson should come back to school. People with some sense thought that he should come back to school, but if he wants to go to NFL, that's fine. But he needs to sit at least 1 year, maybe 2. Think his career. And he needs to get a situation where there's a quarterback there, or they can sign one for him to develop. Because if you put him right away, I think he could his confidence, but mess up his development. But I don't think he should start right away.
All right. I think if Indianapolis had to move up to get him at number one, I don't think that would be such a bad idea because the coach they have Shane Steichen came from Philadelphia and played a part in the growth of Jalen Hurts and that offense as a passer, as just overall quarterback. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, you can sign a guy like a Teddy Bridgewater to come in, hold it down for a year or two, while he learns the systems, the ins and outs of that system, and see what happens. But that would be, I think that would be a good move, man. I mean, I like the dude, man. He's a good player, good quarterback. I like what I saw when he was at Florida. Um, People just got the people around him, working with his agent, we're doing a good job of getting this stuff out, and it depends on where he lands, man. If he goes somewhere where he is like throws into the fire, right away, that may not be good for him. Because he could go somewhere to a place where there's bad offensive line, no wide receiver, something like it. Similar to what happened in Chicago with Justin Fields, and he just running around for, getting a lot of rushing yards, not really improving as a passer. That could hurt him. As much as people, like to say, look at the highlights and all that, and how these quarterbacks can run around and things like that. They're not developed as a passer. They're just, great athletes, But it won't. It's not far fetched, man. To me, if he goes number one overall to a place like Indianapolis, as long as they got the right veteran in there that can help him out, the coaching staff is patient, the ownership is patient. Working with Jim Irsay, I think it'll work. But they gotta be careful with this. So we'll see how it play out, man. We'll see.
I was reading a description on CBS, and they said Anthony Richardson has some similarities to Jalen Hurts. But if you're the Colts at 4, there, because I don't think anybody's going to take him. Things can change, but I don't think as of right now, I think would take him. Though some people think he could fit their system. I don't know who may trade up to 1. Because those are trade-up spots. I don't think they'll take Anthony Richardson either. So if that's the Colts guy, then I think you could just sit at 4. I want to know your thoughts on this. I think Anthony Richardson is probably a better version of Malik Willis, and we saw how that went for the Titans. Now you can say that part of it was the system the Titans are running, but you saw how raw. That's why I think Anthony Richardson will be a little better, but he's going to be raw, and so it's worth a team. Sometimes Smith made this point one time. Just because you take a QB high doesn't mean you have to play him right away. So you could theoretically do that. And with the Colts having with the new staff, you could do that, but I just don't think on how you're going to develop him, and I don't think you should throw him in the fire right away. He needs to at least sit a year.
Yeah, set him for a year and just get a veteran, man. If Andy Dalton becomes available, you can sign Andy Dalton, sign a Teddy Bridgewater. Who else is out there? What's another good bridge QB out there outside? Who?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of QB.
I think James wants to be the guy, man. James still believes he can be the guy, man. That ain't happening. But yeah, Gardner Minshew, those type of guys will work, man. But Irsay, if this is the move, man, Jim Irsay got to chill too. You know, we know what he's done in the past, some of his antics and all that. They gotta make sure this is right because they haven't been the same since they had any luck, Los Angeles luck, and they pretty much ruined him. You know, so you gotta be careful with this, man, because you giving up assets, you surrendering assets with the Bears to make this type of move for a quarterback like Richardson. But I don't think he goes number one overall. But I do think
Top
he's gonna
10.
be at the top. He'll be at the
Number
top 10.
one would be you would have some guts to do that.
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't work out, you're going to be ended up like us in the media or I mean, you've got to.
It'll be all right, man. They pay pretty good.
Yeah,
HGMs in the media, they do pretty well, man. Mike Tannenbaum does a good job. So they'll be okay. All right, man. Moving right along, man. We can talk, but next we're talking about these ongoing rumors with the Chicago Bears and the idea of the team possibly trading Justin Fields in a move to acquire more picks to continue to build up their roster or possibly take a Bryce Young. So if y'all don't know by now, recently Justin Fields made a remark not too long ago about the Bears playing in a dome because of the whole the road report is that they're supposed to be getting a new stadium outside the city of Chicago, and it's I think it's like a suburban type area called Arlington Heights outside Chicago. It's supposed to be built like a dome stadium, something like that. And Fields was just, making sharing his thoughts on it. He was saying he wished they could play in the dome because the weather, the extreme, cold conditions in Chicago, it messes with arm strength and things like that with certain quarterbacks. And I'm starting to see, a lot of people run with that as a, a selling point by him of Fields wanting to be traded. Certain, media guys saying that, the Bears can, I mean, Colin Cowherd got a valid point on this that the Bears can, like, trade Fields, keep their pick, and get more picks. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. And one team that was brought up was the Atlanta Falcons. And he's from Georgia. They got if a quarterback's from a certain area, they got to link him to the team because he grew up in that area. So they everybody link him to the Atlanta Falcons because he's from the Georgia area. So they're saying that they could trade Fields, get the quarterback that they want, and acquire more picks. So do you think it's outrageous for them to even have the
no,
idea of
it's not
trade Justin
crazy.
Fields?
You know where I stand on this. That's what I want them to do. Trade Justin Fields and take Bryce Young. And so the interesting thing, though, you probably could get more for the number one pick than trading Justin Fields by himself. But yeah, one, you reset the clock, you get the better quarterback. And look, some people, I actually do agree with Fields about them playing in dome, and I think ultimately that's what they're going to try to do. Warren is their new president, and he's role in Minnesota getting their dome. Is eventually going to get a dome in Arlington Heights. Momentum is building towards that, but that's going to be a few years from now if everything goes well. But this is a golden opportunity to has shown some signs of progress. I think quarterback, and it really isn't even close. If Bryce Young was as big as Anthony Richardson, it wouldn't even be a quarterback. It's just his size is the only issue. Bryce Young is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the past few years coming out of college. And so I would go after Bryce Young and take it from there. Yes, sir.
You would trade Justin Fields? I don't know if I'll do that, man, because can his arm work in Chicago? Because he has a
I
strong
think
enough arm to throw
he
that type of
does.
win. You know what I'm
A
saying?
solid run game. Like while Young is a better passer, they're not just going to rely just on the passing game. They'll have a solid run game, have a solid defense, but when you need to throw it, you need to have that quarterback that can make those throws. And I just think Bryce Young is a better passer right now. And maybe Fields can get to that level, but I ultimately think Bryce Young is a better passer now and be the better passer along.
Man, I think if you do that, man, I just think if you trade Fields and give Bryce Young, you just kind of like pushing your, quarterback development back. You know, your rise as a football team. They kind of push it back because it's not Justin Fields is your guy. You didn't draft him, so you want to move off from him to draft somebody else. Even though Fields has shown that he can be a top, top 10, top 15 quarterback in this league. And if I'm Chicago, I wouldn't trade Fields. I would try to get picks and get some impact players if you can with some of these picks. Because I think some teams will give up a really good player in order to move up in that top spot. That's what I would do about Chicago. I wouldn't trade Fields, man, because this man got 2 years in the league already over Bryce Young. You know, that's experience that Bryce Young don't have right now. You know what I'm saying? And I would I would hold off on it. I wouldn't do that, man. I would try to keep Bill around Fields, man. Try Bill around a guy that you already have in the building, you know? You kind of reset things once again with your fan base if you do this. Because it's not no guarantee that um, Bryce Young is going to work out. Even though I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, it's not a guarantee. He's not a slam dunk. Any which could happen. They could mismanage the offensive line. That's important right there. And he may not be able to overcome that.
Yeah.
Everybody can beat Joe Burrow.
I got you.
Go ahead.
But at the end of the day, I think it's worth the risk. Bryce Young is the better player right now. I think projects to be the better player long term. You reset your clock and build the well, not from scratch, but you continue to build the team. That's what I'll do. But no matter what they do, get it right in terms of building the rest of the roster, then it's not going to matter. So I'll go the Bryce Young route, build the rest of the roster the right way, or it's not going to matter.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but we'll see. I think this might be just a smoke screen by
Yeah.
Ryan Post, the GM, man, just try to, just use the media, just, do that stuff out there just to see how it happens. He come from Kansas City, man, so he knows. I'm pretty sure, man, the dude knows how to build it around a quarterback, man. So we'll see how it plays out. But I just think it's just some smoke and mirrors by Chicago and the Ryan Poles. So we'll see. All right, man. Last topic of the night, man. We talk about the NBA. All-Star. As it's the All-Star break is over. I think the season kicks back off tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at the standings right now. You got in the East, you got Milwaukee at number 2 right now. Boston at 1. The Bucks won 12 games. 12-game winning streak. Philly won 4 straight. Cleveland at the 4th spot. Brooklyn, I think Brooklyn hangs on. They're a playoff team at 5. The West, you got Denver still at 1. Grizzlies still remain at number 2. Sacramento, shockingly, still at 3. Clippers at 4. Phoenix have got out of playing game territory to number 5. The rest, Pal 7. Dallas at 6, Golden State 9, Minnesota 8, Lakers 13, Portland 12, Jazz 11, the OKC at 10. Well, anyways, coming out of this All-Star break, which team do you believe will have the edge in each conference, out of each conference? Which team that you believe will establish themselves as the clear-cut favorites to play in the
East,
finals
I
out of the
think
East and the West?
there's not a lot of contenders, so that's easy to choose from. I'll go with the Bucks. Giannis is probably, you could say, make case he's the best player in the NBA. It's hard to find someone better right now. Got to get healthy. Chris Middleton was coming off the bench before the break. They got to get him back in the starting lineup. I like them adding Jay Crowder at the trade deadline, another piece to their depth, and I just like what the Bucks are need to do. They're my favorite to come out of the East. For the West, man, this is tough because so many moving parts. I think it could potentially change. I'll right now just go with the Nuggets because they've been the most consistent team throughout the season. But have their pieces and stuff and start building chemistry, then it could be anybody. The West is probably more wide open than it's been since I've been covering the NBA. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the West unfolds. But it's going to be fun to watch.
So you still think it's wide open, even though Phoenix got KD and
Yeah.
Dallas went and got
I think
Kyrie
the
to go with
Lakers got to
Luka?
punch a shot. I don't think they're not, but they got to punch a shot. There's you can make case
Yeah.
there's 6 teams that have a legit shot to come out of the West. And so it's very wide open. Now, obviously, there are tiers to that, but it's very, very wide open. Like a really good team is going to lose in the first round. A good team is going to lose in the second round too, because one team can advance and then someone has to win, someone has to lose. And so the West playoffs is going to be very, very interesting to watch.
Yeah, man. Just the East, man. I really like Milwaukee, man. I really like the way it was played before the All-Star break. Very unfortunate what happened with Giannis. Hopefully, he can heal up, get back into action because I think they're trending in the right way, the right direction right now, man. They're on a 12-game winning streak. Slowly creeping up on Boston for that number 1 seed in the East. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I like Milwaukee to come out of the East this year. Avenge last year's loss to the Celtics in the semifinal rounds, and I think they could go to the NBA Finals, man. It's they're really that good this year. The West, Phoenix, man. I think Phoenix could be the top seed there, but we'll see how it plays out. No excuse for them. You know, they got, Kevin Durant, you got Chris Paul, you got Devin Booker, you got DeAndre Ayton. We lose a little bit of depth with that trade that you made with what is Brooklyn, but we'll see how it plays out. Some teams have made it work in the past where they traded away that bench like Golden State did a few years ago for Kevin Durant. So we'll see how it play out. But I'm gonna ask you this too. By let's say by the beginning of April, does the Phoenix Suns move up past the Grizzlies for the second seed in the West, or does it remain at in the that 5 to 6,
Be
five
good
to
up
seven
to
range? What
4.
do you think?
I think the Grizzlies found a way to hold off anybody, and they remained the second seed. But to me, for a team like Phoenix, when you have veteran players, not as much. For a team like Memphis, it does. Young players, they feed off of that home court. It doesn't matter. If maybe they get it, but I'll say they don't. It won't matter. They just need to build chemistry to get ready for the playoffs. They have one more spot they can add a piece. So I think they should add it doesn't have to be a big time player or name. Solid rotation piece would really, really go a long way. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I don't see the Grizzlies giving up that 2 spot, but I need it. team and they feed off that home court advantage. The Suns, they don't. They have veteran leadership. And when you have some of the best players in the NBA, it doesn't matter where you can beat anybody.
So you feel like the Grizzlies
I
did
would have
enough on the trade deadline?
maybe added one more piece, but yeah, they did enough. Adding Kennard is definitely going to help them.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I think it's a big move for what they need, and I watched them since I've added their coverage to the site, Strike Seven. I watched them play a few games, man, and they do seem to struggle from the 3-point line, man. They're just not a really good shoot team. And another trend I've been noticing with them, prior to the All-Star break, that these leads in the second half, is just they having some issues keeping these leads. So hopefully that can get corrected. They got some rest. They be able to rest up during the All-Star break. See how Luke Kennard is integrated to the lineup. How much opportunities he can get to make big shots, and I think he can get to the finals, the Western Conference Finals, man. I think they can. So we'll see how it
Yep,
plays
that's
out,
it.
man. Anything else you want to add? What about the Lakers, man? You think they get into right now they're not in playing range, but I've been hearing a lot about this new team they put
Yeah, I
together.
think
What do you
hopefully
think?
they
You
at
think they
least make
get
the
out of that?
play-in. They don't even make the play-in, then that'll be a tremendous failure. I heard Darvin Ham saying the goal is the 6th seed, so let's see how close they get to that. But they should at least make the play-in.
So I saw a headline. I didn't listen to the video, but I saw a headline from Fox Sports Radio where the odd couple with Rob Parker. They were saying that if LeBron don't get his team to the play, he don't get his team to the playoffs. It's staying on his resume. What do you
It
think?
will be a disappointment, but definitely not a stain. His legacy has been cemented. You're just adding things. I don't think you can, because if you want to blame anything, blame the roster construction from the beginning of the season. But his legacy has already been cemented.
Yeah. So Rob Parker, all right, man. He's just a little bit a bit too much hypocrisy, but his legacy already was intact to me, man. But yeah, it would be nice to see his legacy in the playoffs, man. I think if they get in, they could be dangerous because I don't trust them with anyone. I'm just being real. Your boy can win this MVP again for the third time, but I just don't trust them in the playoffs because they haven't shown me that they can go far outside of that bubble here where Jamal Murray looked like a top 10 player at that time. So we'll see how it
Yep.
play out, man. Any additional thoughts? All right, that's all we have for y'all for right now, man. Give us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let us know how you feel. This is about the topics we talked about tonight. Also, you listen to us through Apple or Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating. Leave your reviews on the topics we talk about the platform, the website. Check out strike7sports.com for latest content on the NFL, the NBA, Memphis Tigers football, Grizzlies basketball content, and more. Have a blessed night. Peace. We out.